it's a young squad again. You know, you look at the makeup of the squad. I think there's, you know, 11, 12 players that are around that sort of 21 age group, and some a little younger, some just over that. So, you know, in terms of age under even 24, it's high in terms of those numbers. But that's, you know, the way I believe we have to continue to go. I think it's strong because obviously, you know, we've got the likes of, you know, Ballard back, Trey Hume, who missed the second game, Connor Bradley, you know, those three players that have been important for us on that right-hand side of the pitch. We've also got Ali McCann back in the squad who have missed. And I think all those things help. You know, they've got a little bit more experience. You know, we look at George. George is the senior member of the squad, probably him and Paddy. You know, they're both there. And we've got some players who are unavailable to us through injury. Kieran Brown, Josh McGuinness, for example, Jordan Thompson, all missing out through injury as well. It's great, you know, you look at, you know, I suppose the 12, 18 months that these lads have gone in terms of their club careers and also in terms of their international careers. You know, we now have, as you say, in Connor Bradley, a Premier League winner in our group. You know, we've not had that since Johnny Evans. Justin Devaney's party won the FA Cup with Crystal Palace. So those are all positives. You know, you grow as a player through those experiences and having those successes. As you rightly touch on with the two boys at Sunderland and also the two boys at Orient, you know, they're going to play in the playoff finals this week, you know, the Championship playoff final and the League One playoff final. So, you know, they're competing at a good level. You know, that's the most important thing. And obviously, the more players we can get into the Premier League will make us stronger. And obviously, the more players we can get into the Championship will make us stronger as well. Yeah, that was you know, it was the third game of the qualification for Euro 2024. You know, I thought on the night we did really well to contain, you know, a strong Denmark team who were the pot one team in the group. It was a poor goal we lost, a goal that was avoidable. But then our reaction and obviously to nick the goal at the end and unfortunately have it disallowed by VAR, which was a minute decision on an offside that seemed very, very harsh at the time. But I think the main reason for taking this game is that, you know, for our players, it's about exposing them to that type of atmosphere and that type of game. It may not have the edge of a qualification game, but, you know, Copenhagen is a fantastic stadium to play in. It will be quite similar, I think, to Cologne where we're playing Germany. So that type of atmosphere and exposure, we have to give that to the players. You know, they don't get it if you're playing in League One, even playing in the Championship. You know, that exposure to playing against, you know, that level of opposition in that type of stadium and that type of atmosphere, because obviously we're preparing for the games, you know, to come in September, October, November. Yeah, look, it's great. You know, when we bring opposition in, the home record's been good in the last 18 months. I think when we won the game against Denmark, you know, we've carried that forward. Played, you know, good opposition here in Switzerland in March and drew the game. I thought we could have maybe nicked the game towards the end. But again, we were able to compete with a pot one team at that level, given that we had some players out as well. And then we beat, you know, we were very good here in the Nations League, obviously, you know, winning the 3 games. And that type of form is exactly what we want to carry on. We want to make sure that, you know, we don't concede goals here, which is important. But equally, you know, I think we showed our capabilities here at home in terms of being able to play in the front foot, the energy in the team, the speed in the team. And that, I suppose, the youthfulness in the team. You know, I think it's nice when players look forward to coming and playing here at home. I know when I look back at the strongest teams we've had over the years, they developed that. You know, Windsor Park was a place that they enjoyed coming to play, and you know, that's something that this team is obviously well on the way to, you know, building as well. Yeah, I think so. Look, there's a lot of these lads who have played together from a young age, which I think is nice. You know, they've been through the age groups. They're not all in the same age band, but they're a year or maybe 2 years between them. Some have played up as well, so they've known each other from 17s, 19s, 21s. A lot of them have bypassed 21s as well. But then you bring people into that group who are young players as well, people like Justin Devaney, people like Jamie Donnelly, for example, and you know, they fit in very, very quickly, and that's important, you know what I mean? But I think around the group, you know, there's been a big change in the profile of the age of the player, that, you know, from where we were 2 years ago to where we are now. And I think they're an enjoyable group to work with. They're, I think, a hungry group, which is good, an ambitious group. But we have to also give them exposure and give them time. You know, I don't think we don't need to put too much expectation on them, but I think their expectations they have of themselves are high, which is the most important thing. They want to achieve. They got a little taste of that, obviously, in the Nations League, top in the group, and you know the possible rewards that may or may not come with that. But the most important thing is that to taste that little bit of success at international level at a young age, then obviously whets your appetite for the bigger competitions to come. So yeah, I think this 10 days or 12 days, whatever we'll have with the players, will be invaluable in terms of the preparation for when we come together, obviously right at the end of August. It's a hard squad to pick, September, because the players have only played maybe a handful of games in their clubs, but you know, you want your players hitting the ground running in pre-season, and you know, looking forward to that first international window. And you know, it's a massive challenge, but something that we look forward to.